Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Tuesday evening, January 7, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems, so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season, that's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you guys utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section but in the video description, so that you can skip to the point in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the weather's been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so we're going to be looking at some expert insights from Andy Hazelton. If you don't know by now, he is actually a physical scientist at the National Weather Service, and from time to time he makes some very accurate posts about the Atlantic hurricane season in general. I remember he made numerous posts before the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season, and I remember how bad that was, especially with Beryl hitting us. And now he just made a tweet, well, a post today, as a matter of fact, 9:57 a.m. at that, stating long ways out, but the most recent NMME suggests a setup for another potentially active Atlantic season, with a warm AMO look and the ENSO staying at least neutral through August. Warm PDO and Atlantic Nina, there might slow things down some. It will be interesting to see how this evolves as we head towards spring. So these are the images that he's highlighting. The fact that the waters of the central to the eastern Atlantic should remain, if not cool, definitely on the neutral side in the gray colors. And the waters of the Atlantic should be still way above normal. And he also highlighted the precipitation outlook across the main development region as well as the Caribbean. We can see a lot of moisture across the main development region right here, stretching all the way from Africa. We know a lot of that has to do with the tropical waves that push westward from Africa and then end up into the Caribbean. And this is valid for August 2025. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what unfolds, especially as we head into the peak months, August into September and October for sure. Hopefully it's not a bad year like what we had in 2024. Hopefully we get more rainfall for sure to cool down the temperatures, but not necessarily tropical storms or hurricanes. And whatever happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted. Alright, on another note, the ODPEM has stated that they are requiring our participation in an earthquake awareness drill in general. They've stated here that the ODPM and the municipal corporations invite schools, businesses, and communities to participate in an all-island drill. And the day for schools will be Wednesday, January 15, 2025. And the day for businesses should be Thursday, January 16, 2025. And I think it's definitely a good thing to do in general. I remember all of us have some form of PTSD from the October 30, 2023 earthquake. Many of us didn't do what was expected of us at all. So an earthquake drill would definitely be ideal at a time like this, even although there's no season for earthquakes. Many people think that January is earthquake month. Oh no, we can get earthquakes any month of the year in general, but January is earthquake awareness month. We also have earthquake awareness week in general, and as such, on my other social media platforms, I've been highlighting some posts regarding educating the mass about the various fault lines in and around Jamaica, the history of earthquakes in and around Jamaica, and numerous tips on what you should do when an earthquake strikes. Remember many of these old videos, even this animated video right here, all of them are on our Twitter, Instagram, Facebook page for your viewing pleasure, and we're going to be continuing to post some more throughout the week. Excuse me. On another note, the ODPM has stated that they're hosting the Earthquake Awareness live outside broadcast. It says tune in for important safety information tips, and they've stated that this broadcast will take place on January 8, 2025, and they've stated also that it would be between the hours of 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. So if you're interested in listening, I have numerous speakers right here that are going to be talking about what's expected and very timely in regards to Earthquake Awareness Month. It's definitely a good initiative in general, so I hope that you're going to be staying tuned. Alright, so we're going to be looking at the Global Tropics Hazards Outlook from the US Climate Prediction Center that just came out this afternoon. The forecaster's name is Colo, and they've stated that from the time period from January 15 to January 21, we're going to be seeing some above normal temperatures across, well, from below normal temperatures across the east coast of the US. We know the blues represent what we see here on the key on the bottom, below normal temperatures. Well, look at these browns. There are a lot of browns stretching all the way from Jamaica, the Greater Antilles, Bahamas, Hispaniola, into the northeastern Caribbean, as well as the main development region. Another other browns represents below average rainfall probability. Very interesting that for January 15 to 21, we're going to be seeing much in the way of rainfall according to this latest CPC forecast. Excuse me. But look what happens the following time period, January 22 to January 28. We're starting to see the opposite. We're seeing the greens that represent above average rainfall probability. Very interesting. We'll see exactly what unfolds. We know that whatever the US Climate Prediction Center posts isn't 100% set in stone, but we definitely have to stay prepared and keep updated, and I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what happens. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us according to the latest Euro and the latest GFS supercomputer model. So we're going to be looking at the latest Euro that came out at 3:30 p.m. today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we look out for all of this that we see on the key on the right. The reds, the oranges, the yellows, the greens represents inches of rainfall. And we're going to be focusing our attention right here across Jamaica to see exactly what's going to be happening. Alright, as we head into Wednesday, just like what we saw yesterday, not much of anything across the island at all. Thursday, something similar. Heading into Friday, heading into Saturday, we see most of the moisture to the south of the island. Heading into Sunday, we see the moisture to the west of the island. Heading into Monday, definitely more whites than anything else that represents no rainfall at all. So I guess whatever the CPC is predicting is already coming to fruition. Either way, we see it right here. Excuse me. That at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Tuesday, January 14, the next 7 days. We see Jamaica should be right here, smack dab in the middle of nothing at all. Not much in the way for rainfall at all. We see some moisture stretching all the way from the eastern Caribbean across the southern Caribbean into the southwestern Caribbean into Central America right there. We see some moisture across Belize, and we see some moisture across the western portion of the Gulf of Mexico. Well, let us take a look at what the latest GFS is showing. That just came out an hour ago, or almost 2 hours ago. We can see that as we head into Wednesday, definitely don't see much in the way of rainfall. Maybe some isolated across the northeast according to this latest Euro run. We'll see exactly what unfolds. Thursday, not much of anything. Look at this, more whites than anything else that represent little to no rainfall. Friday, something similar in terms of little to no rainfall. Saturday, most of the moisture to the south of Jamaica. Sunday, we see the moisture to the west of us into Monday as well. Tuesday, we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. And I guess we can say that we're seeing something similar to what the Euro was showing. The Euro was showing moisture across the western Gulf, across Belize, the waters to the south, and to the eastern Caribbean. And I guess, yeah, we can see all of that. The moisture across the western Gulf, but it's stringing along across the central to the eastern Gulf. You can also see the moisture across Belize, as well as that moisture stretching from Nicaragua all across the southern Caribbean into the eastern Caribbean. So I guess is definitely showing something similar. I know that when we look at both the Euro and the GFS models, we have to look for a consensus in order to believe the forecast even more. And I guess we have some form of certainty in that the next 7 days definitely going to be drier than average or Jamaica. And if we take a look at the total accumulated precipitation forecast, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until Tuesday, January 14. I know the rainfall is represented by what we see on the key on the right. So the greens into the yellows and the oranges represented from 0.1 of an inch all the way up to 0.75 of an inch of rainfall. The reds represented from 1 inch of rainfall all the way up into the burgundies, that's 2 inches of rainfall. The purples into the pinks, they're representing anywhere from 3 to 5 inches of rainfall. And even the peach colors anywhere from 6 to 8 inches of rainfall. And clearly, we can see that the most in the way for rainfall over the next 7 days should be across portions of the Gulf right here, sections of Belize into Guatemala, Honduras, section of Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama into Colombia right there. We also see a lot of moisture that's going to be plaguing the waters to the south of Jamaica, stretching all the way into the eastern Caribbean right here, anywhere from Guadeloupe southward. We can also see some moisture across Trinidad and Tobago, northeastern Venezuela, and maybe even sections of the northeastern portion of South America. We're talking about Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana. And if we take a look at the latest GFS, we can see that the very same spots that the Euro is highlighting for the most in the way of rainfall over the next 7 days are going to be receiving that here as well. And we know that when we have consensus on both the Euro and the GFS models, the chances are higher for these things to actually take place. Now we're going to be focusing our attention on total accumulated precipitation for Jamaica. We don't see much change. Clearly, the most rainfall within the next 7 days should still be plaguing northern parishes, especially the northeast. You know, we're talking about anywhere from St. Anne eastward to St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland for sure, maybe even spilling into section of St. Andrew and St. Thomas. And clearly, we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with that. But the rainfall total is not so ridiculous at all. Anywhere from 0.1 of a millimeter all the way up to maybe 15 millimeters. The Euro right here flirting with 19 millimeters of rainfall. GFS definitely less than that. Either way, we see that Portland is going to be the recipient of the brunt of the rainfall within the next 7 days. Rest of the island definitely going to be dry for sure. Excuse me. If we take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that we have a blue spiked line right here associated with a frontal system reaching all the way from northern portion of the North Atlantic all the way down to the Bahamas, central Cuba, and the western Caribbean. You can see another frontal system right here inducing a trough to the north of the main development region. And we know the ridge of high pressure is somewhere up here. That's responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds with those low-level to mid-level clouds across the main development region into the Caribbean. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun down, we can make out the clouds associated with that cold front right here, stretching all the way across the Bahamas into Cuba as well as the western Caribbean right there. We can also make out the clouds associated with that frontal system with the trough that has induced to the north of the main development region. And we can make out the flow of the low-level clouds being steered from east-west, all courtesy of the ridge of high pressure to the north as usual. And we can see the upper-level clouds being sheared off towards the north and east, all courtesy of that strong upper-level wind shear from the southwest that we've been monitoring. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean today later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Tuesday, January 7, 2025. It was stated that rain was in the forecast of parts of northern Jamaica on Tuesday morning, also affecting sections of some eastern parishes during Tuesday afternoon. On the northern parishes, we're talking about Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland, while the eastern parishes, and we're talking about Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, and St. Andrew. And what ended up happening? As early as 7:41 a.m., the visible satellite image was posted here on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica, and I'd like for you to keep in mind that these posts aren't only made here on our Twitter page, but they are made on our Instagram page at weather.jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we can see the visible satellite image that was posted at around, that was 7:41 a.m. And we saw some clouds most of the clouds were to our north, to be honest, because when I checked the visible satellite image at that time, trust me, it looked like clouds, but I'm guessing it was more on the fog side than anything else, I'm sure. But yeah, we definitely had some isolated shores out to sea, if not onshore, and we also saw some isolated shores to the east of the island too. We've been talking about that for sure. And then during the afternoon now at around 12:51 p.m, the visible satellite image was also posted again, highlighting the clouds bringing overcast skies and isolated shores to section of eastern Jamaica, but even section of central Jamaica is getting in on some of the action too. And it was more so on the cloudy side than anything else. If you got some sprinkles, then you're on the lucky side to cool down your temperatures. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down, we can make out what took place. We see more of a northerly low level flow right here, just like what we stated in yesterday's video. You can also see that strong upper level flow from the southwest, sending those cirrus clouds off towards the northeast, just as predicted. And we can also make out the clouds across eastern Jamaica for sure, right there before we lost the sunlight. So we're definitely getting a blanket of clouds across section of Kingston, St. Andrews, Portland, and St. Thomas during the afternoon. And if we take a look at the infrared close-up satellite images of Jamaica, clearly we don't see any thunderstorm clouds, any cumulonimbus clouds. All we see are those high cirrus clouds being streaked off towards the northeast, and that's basically it. And if we take a look at what took place, we can see that for the most part it was a sunny day across the flat bridge in St. Andrew. I'd like for you to keep in, well, in St. Catherine, not St. Andrew. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica on YouTube. This video right here is actually highlighting an incident that took place in St. Catherine today. So it was a sunny day. As we can see here, not much in the bad weather. This was around 2:05 p.m, but something took place. I guess the driver misjudged the turn, and then there was some kind of mishap, and then you know the drill. So many persons have lost their lives around this area, boy. We're indeed grateful that eventually by the end of the video, yeah, they were helped out of the situation, and then they were able to finally make that turn. But they definitely had traffic. I even heard that there were some price gouges going on with some of the buses and the taxis at that time. People having to pay triple the fare, boy. Hopefully something is done about that bridge eventually. But clearly we saw that it was a sunny day, almost turned disastrous. But we're indeed grateful that nothing of the sort took place. And we have some more comments right here. We have Excuse My Inui stating cloudy and cool in these hills. And even on our YouTube page we had MFan1985 stating mostly blue skies, absolutely beautiful weather on the coast just east of Falmouth, and Annie stating good cloudy. And if we take a look at the very latest still image from the Weather Nerds website about Jamaica's weather, we can see that as of right now all we're having are those whites into the blue colors. That represents the high cirrus clouds being streaked off towards the northeast. Nothing significant taking place across the island right now. And we definitely have the Cuban Doppler radar to confirm this. Let's reload this so that we have the very latest. Alright, there we go. Still glitched. It's not glitched out. It was just showing January 6th. Now it's showing January 7th. That's good. And it's showing all the way up to at least 7:40 p.m. I'll take it. We see that the time is now 7:59, but clearly we don't see much of anything happening across Cuba or Jamaica. We do see some greens across the northern portion, but don't be fooled. All that is what we call ground clutter. That's an error in the system. We don't have rainfall taking place at all at this time. Taking a look at the Guantanamo Bay Cuban naval radar imagery, we can see that not much of anything is taking place across eastern Cuba, western portions of Haiti, or northeastern Jamaica at this time. And if we take a look at what's happening right now. Well, hold on. Before we take a look at what's happening there, we need to take a look at the Cayman radar that shows western Jamaica not seeing much of anything there, not seeing much of anything across southern Cuba or a portion of the Cayman Islands. Maybe some isolated shores right there to the west of Grand Cayman, but that's basically it. So let's take a look now what's happening on the halfway tree cam. Let's get to the live, and we can see not much of anything taking place in terms of bad weather. People walking, going about their business, people in their vehicles going about their business, and that's basically it. Not gonna be any form of bad weather taking place tonight at all. If you take a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 25 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Wednesday, temperature should dip down to about 24 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 23 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow. This map from the GFS is valid for 18th on Wednesday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Wednesday. And we can see Jamaica right here embedded in the grey, as well as the slight yellow color that represents average to slightly above average temperatures. And we know the average temperatures for the month of January across Jamaica are around 86.5 degrees Fahrenheit. And when that's calculated and converted to degrees Celsius, that's about 30.2 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 30 to 31 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Wednesday. And you know it's going to be cooler than average wherever we have the mountains or the hills, so the Blue Mountains, not to mention the hills of Manchester. Definitely going to be cooler than that. And we're indeed grateful that according to my JPS Online's Twitter page, they don't have any maintenance outage advisories up and coming for anywhere at all. The last one was for January 5. Well, was from January 5, valid for Tuesday, January 7, across sections of St. Mary. And we see that they don't have any maintenance outage advisories out, and we're indeed grateful for that, because you know that when we have power outages across our area, the heat can definitely be exacerbated because we don't have our fan or our AC to cool us down. Either way, if tomorrow is a bit too hot for you, we have some tips here to beat the heat as usual. It states here, when outside, seek shade, eat fresh, try eating cold foods such as salads and fruit. Rest, make sure you get enough sleep and rest if you're feeling tired. Soak, take a cool shower or bath to help you cool down. And I cannot stress enough how important it is to always stay hydrated throughout the day. Even if you're not thirsty, drink a lot of water. Put away those sugar drinks and drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, we know that the dry air is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. We're talking about the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those reds. Still don't have the Saharan dust map to show at all. Hopefully, they get it sorted out quickly. Boy, we see a lot of dry air though across the main development region into the eastern and central Caribbean, the southwestern Atlantic into the Gulf of Mexico, right here, as well as off the east coast of the US. Lots of dry air. We know the dry air is responsible for suppressing the wet weather, but we do see a lot of blues into some slight grays across the southwestern Caribbean and the southern portions of the basin where the intertropical convergence zone is. So we know that all of that is a lot of moist air, definitely conducive to some amount of moisture. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see the majority of the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean are getting in on the blues that we can see from the key on the bottom right. That represents anywhere from 0.5 meter wave height all the way up to 1.5 meter wave height. Clearly on the north coast tomorrow, 0.9 of a meter wave height. South coast, 1.1 meter wave height. And that's because of the winds that are expected. Clearly we can see that strong northerly flow from Florida across Cuba, curving westward into Central America right there. We see more of a northeasterly flow, but with that windward passage across Jamaica, we see more of an easterly flow across the eastern Caribbean, but by the time it gets to the central Caribbean, it's starting to curve down towards the southwest right there. And we clearly see the winds that are forecasted. Anywhere from 5 to 10 to 15 knots, maybe even gusting to 20 knots wherever we see the yellows, as we can see from the key on the right. And if we close in on Jamaica, we can see what's expected. Clearly, we see more of a northeasterly flow, averaging 11 knots on the north coast. Right here to the south of St. Thomas, 14 knots. But clearly, we don't have it strong at all right here to the south of Manchester, 5 knots. Not really strong at all there on the south coast. Definitely going to be feeling hotter than normal on the south coast for sure, because that's where we have the least amount of wind. Either way, we can't rule out some isolated showers that relieve rainfall For a section of the northeast, Portland, St. Mary for sure. This is why Portland is so wet. They're always getting that moist northeasterly flow. And then all of those hills cause more condensation, more rainfall taking place in general. Either way, if we take a look at the actual rainfall forecast maps now, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing 9 a.m. on Wednesday, and we can clearly see the blues represent rainfall across northeastern parishes. So we know we're talking about Portland, maybe spilling into sections of St. Thomas, and the section of St. Mary and St. Anne definitely being highlighted on the Euro. Not so much on the GFS, especially St. Anne, but maybe a bit of St. Mary and sections of Portland gonna be getting on some isolated showers. Steeping ahead now to about 2 p.m. on Wednesday. We see the blues that represent rainfall, mainly across eastern parishes for sure. Now we're talking about sections of maybe St. Andrew, St. Thomas, Portland, maybe spilling into sections of St. Mary. We'll see exactly what unfolds at that time. I'll definitely be here to keep you posted on my other social media platforms. And we see that the upper level winds are not changing at all, still coming in from the southwest for sure. So we're going to be getting on more of those strong upper level wind shear, blowing those high cirrus clouds off towards the north and the east. And regarding the total accumulated precipitation forecast, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing other rainfall expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Wednesday. And we can clearly see that the most rainfall over the next 24 hours should be across the northeast. We're talking about Portland, St. Mary, the Euro showing up to at least 0.1 of an inch, maybe 0.08 of an inch, maybe even a bit more, maybe 0.2 of an inch of rainfall. The GFS showing up to at least 0.13 of an inch of rainfall. We'll see exactly what occurs tomorrow. Either way, this lack of rainfall is definitely expected in the month of January across Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the top. We usually receive close to 25 millimeters of rainfall. That's about close to an inch of rainfall. In Montego Bay, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom, we usually receive up to 3 inches of rainfall. That's about 75 millimeters of rainfall. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives for the month of January or for the entire year, you can visit this website. That's www.weather-and-climate.com, and that website will show you that information. And you can use this nice graphic right here that converts rainfall that we receive on the rain gauge from inches to millimeters. You know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall, so you can do the math yourself. Alright, so that is it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So, as stated, we have some moisture passing through the eastern Caribbean. We have some moisture stretching from Hispaniola all the way to the south of Jamaica. Some moisture across Central America. Some moisture associated with that frontal system crossing section of the Bahamas, Cuba, and the western Caribbean right there. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, let's see what's happening over there near Puerto Rico right now. Actually, we're getting some isolated shores across sections of central and northern Puerto Rico as we speak. Not seeing much activity across the Leeward Islands, but if we load these images from earlier today, we can see that Puerto Rico has been getting it for the most part. And if we take a look at the Barbados radar, we can make out some isolated sprinkles coming in from the east across Barbados, pushing towards St. Vincent and the Grenadines as we speak. We can also make out some isolated shores right here to the east of Tobago, maybe to affect Tobago later on tonight. Not seeing much activity across Trinidad, but we can make out some activity heading into sections of St. Lucia and Martinique as we speak. And if we take a look at the weather view of Doppler radar images, we can make out some rainfall pushing into section of Belize, northwestern Honduras. We can also make out some isolated shores right here, pushing from northeast to southwest, right there to the east of Nicaragua, maybe to affect sections of southeastern Nicaragua and sections of maybe northeastern portions of Costa Rica. We can also make out some isolated shores across sections of Colombia too. And regarding where most of the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Wednesday, and we can clearly see that the most rainfall over the next 24 hours should be plaguing portions of Belize, Guatemala, Honduras, southeastern Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia. You can also see some rainfall in store for section of the eastern Caribbean. We're talking about anywhere from St. Vincent and the Grenadines northward, Barbados, so sections of St. Lucia, Martinique, Dominica. Isolated shores in store for eastern Cuba, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. And clearly we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this forecast. I know that when they're in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.